We've been talking about it all day yesterday and today, and as we go into the second full day of the government shutdown, we want to hear from our local lawmakers.
And so we reached out to both Representatives Eric Sorensen and Marionette Miller Meeks. Now, the schedule did not align with Representative Miller Meeks, but this morning we are hearing from Representative Sorensen. He joins us this morning. Now, Eric, thanks for being here.
Dustin and Jetta, it's always good to be with you.
Yeah. So, Eric, Democrats are blaming Republicans. Republicans are blaming Democrats. It seems like every time there's a shutdown or the threat of one, it's the other party's fault. So what do you say to the federal employees in the Quad Cities who really just want to move forward right now?
Well, they need to know who is in Washington, D.C. to do the work for them. And I have been here all week long. I am here in Washington, D.C. this morning. My hope is that Marionette Miller Meeks is on her way to Washington to do her job. Let's understand what has happened this week. The Republicans have allowed the government to shut down on their watch. They control the majority in the House of Representatives and then in the Senate, and they have a president aligned with their political views. And so they needed 60 votes in the Senate. They didn't have 60 votes, and much like a child playing a board game, they flipped over the table. And that's not how we do business. That's not how we work in Washington. We find compromise. We meet in the middle. We do a give and take. And all the while, this shutdown is now devastating people even back home, at the arsenal. I'm worried about those folks. I'm worried about the folks that are going to be working at the TSA, at the Quad City Airport, without pay. We need to make sure that this is done. But in order to get this done, we need Republicans in Washington.
Now, Erica, this shutdown appears to be different with higher stakes this time around. The president is threatening mass firing during the shutdown. Vice President J.D. Vance says they don't necessarily want to fire people, but it's necessary to keep essential services running. What's your response to that?
Well, Dustin, I think that's just a threat, right? And that, let's understand that threat came out before the government shut down. Okay, that was a threat by the president to say, if you don't do what I want you to do, I will make it so much worse for the American people. We have a president that is willing to make it worse for the American people because he didn't get the politics of what he wanted. And look, I mean, we do need to make sure that we're taking care of, the waste, the fraud, and the abuse within our government. I'm not saying that we don't do that, but I'm saying we cannot use these bully tactics. Fighting against the people who want to do what's right for the people they serve. I am fighting today to make sure that your healthcare costs are under control. They are doing nothing. I'm fighting to make sure that when you open up your open enrollment for next year, you're going to have sticker shock. Because guess what? The people in power in the Congress have not done anything to lower your costs. Those are the things that we're fighting for today. And the folks on the other side of the aisle can't tell you what they're fighting for here with the shutdown.
And so, Eric, I want to mention, you're a meteorologist. The National Weather Service has said it will continue to operate. Luckily, here in the Quad Cities, we do have a quiet stretch of weather for this next bit. We have some rain, not a big impact, though. We're also in hurricane season, though. So for our friends in other parts of the country, I mean, do you foresee this impacting any forecasting in the future? We know as shutdowns tend to go longer and longer and longer, those federal employees call in. They're not getting paid.
Right. And so, this is another thing to remember, Jenna, is that right here at home in Davenport, we have got National Weather Service employees, and they live on both sides of the river. So they live they're my constituents too. They're going to go and do this work regardless. The National Hurricane Center is going to continue to do this work regardless. We may not have as many Hurricane Hunter aircraft that actually go fly into these hurricanes. It may mean that we're using some old school meteorology to forecast this as opposed to utilizing just what the weather models are saying. But it goes to a bigger picture. When people are going to come to Washington, D.C., everything is going to be closed. They don't deserve this. Tourists don't deserve it. These are American people. But also, we're not getting a farm bill across the line. What can they say on the other side of the aisle about the fact that our farmers are sitting in combines and harvesters, and they're not going to make any money, right? And this should not be political. And we've seen how Donald Trump and his press secretary yesterday talked about, we're going to take care of our farmers. Well, show me the money. Show me where you have actually done some work for farmers, where you have done work for farmers to help John Deere survive. They have done nothing, nothing but give us lip service while real Americans are hurting today.
Eric, thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you so much for joining us again. We do want to mention that we are in talks with Representative Miller Meeks, and while her schedule didn't work out this morning, we are working to get her on the show as soon as possible.